In a quiet neighborhood filled with sunshine and peaceful homes, there lived a loving couple named Joe and Willow. Their house was small but warm and cozy and glowing with the gentle touch of a family that cherished one another. For 7 long years, they prayed and hoped for a child to complete their hearts. And then, as if the heavens themselves had finally listened, a baby boy was born, a miracle child they named Jaden. From the moment he opened his tiny eyes, Joe and Willow felt their world change forever. They showered him with love, comfort, and everything he ever wished for. As he grew older, Jaden became the center of their universe. Anything he wanted, they gave him without hesitation. If he wished for toys, they bought them. If he didn't want to eat something, they made something new. If he preferred to stay indoors rather than play outside, they said nothing. Their love was endless, and in their desire to make him happy, they unknowingly protected him from challenges he should have learned to face. Years passed, and Jaden grew into a boy who spent most of his days watching television, playing video games, and ignoring the world outside. He rarely helped around the house, rarely interacted with other children, and rarely followed advice. His parents wished he would be more active, more independent, and more responsible, but their love often silenced their concerns. They could not bring themselves to deny him anything. To them, he was still their miracle, and they believed loving him endlessly was the right thing. But high above the clouds, in a strange realm where the habits of mankind lived as powerful beings, something else was happening. A meeting was called, a gathering of the entities who influenced the behaviors of humans below. Inertia, the spirit of laziness; dishonesty, the spirit who twisted truths; arrogance, who made hearts proud and stubborn; and many others gathered around a glowing table of clouds. As usual, tardiness rushed in late, stumbling over her excuses. Anger shouted. Dishonesty lied. The usual chaos of habits unfolded. But it was a more serious matter that brought them together. The elder habit, the one who watched humans closely, revealed a glowing scroll. The name written on it was Jaden, the miracle child from Prime City. The habits gathered around and studied the scroll carefully. They saw that Jaden had developed growing patterns of laziness, dishonesty, and rising arrogance. He had been awake past midnight for months, slept through the afternoons, avoided homework, disrespected his parents, and recently stole his friend's lunch and lied about it. The elder habit declared that 3 habits, inertia, dishonesty, and arrogance, would now take full command of Jaden's life. From that day on, these habits began influencing everything he did. Every time Jaden tried to wake early or do something productive, inertia pulled him back into laziness. Whenever he made a mistake, dishonesty pushed him into lying rather than owning up to it. Whenever his parents tried to guide him, arrogance stepped in, puffing up his pride and convincing him that he was the victim, that his parents were wrong, and that he owed no one anything. Slowly, Jaden's world began to shrink. He lost friends, he disappointed his parents, he stopped caring about school, health, or even his own future. Though he lived in a house full of love, he felt lonely and tired. Exhausted not by effort, but by the weight of his own habits. One morning, something unusual happened. For the first time in a long while, Jaden woke up early, before the sun itself. There was no reason for it, no alarm, no noise. Something within him simply stirred, urging him to step outside. He put on his clothes and walked to the garden near his home, the crisp morning air brushing against his skin. The sky glowed orange as the sun rose slowly, and for the first time in years, he felt calm, light, and strangely hopeful. As he sat on a bench admiring the peaceful moment, an old gardener appeared beside him. Jaden hadn't noticed him at all. The gardener introduced himself as Clive, a gentle man with kind eyes who seemed to belong to the garden itself. Clive pointed out the weeds growing near the biggest tree, weeds so poisonous and deep-rooted that if they weren't removed soon, the tree would wither away. Something about the gardener's concern struck Jaden deeply. He didn't want the garden's strongest tree to die. Without hesitation, he offered to help. Clive brought him a toolbox and asked him to pull out one small weed. Jaden did, and felt proud. But Clive explained that the other weeds were far stronger, buried deep beneath the soil, and would require patience, effort, and the right tools. For hours, Jaden worked. He pulled, dug, tugged, and persisted until the weeds finally came free. His hands were sore, his clothes dirty, but for the first time in a very long time, he felt a sense of accomplishment. Clive smiled warmly. With a voice that suddenly sounded ancient and powerful, he revealed that he was no ordinary gardener. He was the Dragon of Boons, a guardian spirit who had come to help Jaden defeat the habits that controlled him. By uprooting the magical weeds, Jaden had proven his patience, strength, and determination. As a reward, the dragon gifted him 3 powerful rings: the ring of honesty, the ring of discipline, and the ring of love, each designed to combat the habits that had taken hold of him. But the dragon warned him. The rings were tools, not miracles. Some habits were so deeply rooted that they required consistent effort, empathy, and persistence to remove. The path would not be easy. Jaden asked why he suddenly felt lighter that morning, more honest and less arrogant. The dragon chuckled and admitted that he had slipped a sleeping draft to the habits: inertia, dishonesty, and arrogance, keeping them unconscious for a little while so Jaden could start fresh. But they would wake soon, and when they did, the real battle would begin. From that day forward, Jaden started fighting back. When inertia tried to keep him in bed, he forced himself to run in the mornings. When arrogance whispered excuses, Jaden took a deep breath and spoke kindly to his parents. When dishonesty pushed him to lie, he practiced telling at least one truth a day, even if it was small. It was not easy. Sometimes he failed. Sometimes the habits fought harder. But each time he wanted to give up, he remembered the weeds and the dragon's words, and he kept going.
Slowly, everything began to change. Jaden started mending friendships by apologizing honestly. He rebuilt trust. He regained energy. He accepted responsibility. His parents watched in astonishment and quiet joy as their son transformed into a thoughtful, hard-working, and humble young man. One evening, he stood before them with tears in his eyes, apologizing for his past behavior and promising to become better. Joe and Willow embraced him tightly, their hearts finally at peace. Over time, Jaden removed the magical rings, not because he no longer needed help, but because he had already become the person he once dreamed of being. The ring's powers now lived within him. He grew disciplined, honest, and gentle by nature. He found a job, earned respect, made friends, and created a stable and happy life for himself. And though years passed and Jaden achieved success, he never forgot the morning in the garden, the weeds he pulled, the lesson he learned, and the mysterious dragon who believed in him before he believed in himself. Every time life grew difficult, he reminded himself that even the deepest rooted habits could be uprooted with patience, persistence, and love. In the end, Jaden's story became a quiet reminder to everyone that while harmful habits can grow silently and take control, the power to change always lies within us. And sometimes, all it takes is one moment, one sunrise, to begin again. And so, dear little dreamers, Jaden's life blossomed from struggle into strength. His journey teaches us that habits do not define us forever. We can change, grow, and rise above anything that holds us back. Remember, just like Jaden, you too can pull out the weeds in your heart with patience, honesty, and love. If you enjoyed this story, give it a big thumbs up, share it with someone who might need a little encouragement, and don't forget to subscribe to Nini Nights for more heart-touching stories every week. Until next time, may your dreams be gentle and your heart be brave.